Well, hello there. This is the huggable, lovable, untouchable, and fortunately enough, slightly maniacal Big Bear StarCraft 2, actually bringing you guys a TV2. This is the second game of Imba Strelock versus Happy. They're both Terran players, and I did bring you guys the one on Shakur's Plateau, and someone asked me in the comments to cast this game. And this is, of course, a second one in the series. And considering that I have not gotten really any kind of request to cast any more games, I could not say no. And so I decided that, hey, why not? Might as well cast a TVT. I really like the TVTs because I think that they are the most creative of all the matchups in that are mirror matchups anyways. Because for PvP, it's more of a building order, although I'm not entirely sure because since the new patch, there is a 20-second delay, so I'm sure that there maybe the 2-gate Stalker Rush is more popular, where you just build 2 gateways of Cybernetics Core and then Chrono Boost Stalkers into the other player's base. I'm pretty sure that that is going to come back and be more popular now that the 4-gate is in fact gone, but you never know, there may be some more creative playstyles like rushing for a fast sentry to force field off the ramp while you get a robotics bay to deter that Stalker Rush that will eventually come. You can see that Imba Straylock is actually going for a refinery before barracks, so he's going to be going for fast Hellion play. That's really good because it actually counters, and ironically enough, Happy going for the refinery before barracks play as well. So they're either going for extremely fast siege tanks, extremely fast, well, obviously fast factory, but extremely fast siege tanks, or extremely fast banshees. And it will be interesting to see. I've seen Happy use banshees a lot as a harassment, and a little trick you can do as a player when you're actually playing the game, when you actually do end up scouting into your opponent's base, you can click on the refinery and see how much gas is remaining, and if you see more than, I think it's 25 when your scout would normally enter the base, then you know that they went for refinery force first, and you can be expecting fast Hellions, fast tanks, or fast banshees, you know, so you should kind of be on your toes for the later tech, but that also means that you won't be seeing a very early marine push if you do see that they did go for that refinery first. And I mean, it's kind of just one of those things that's a cute little thing that you can do to figure out what kind of timing you can do. And it's again the whole concept of scouting without actually seeing the actual thing that they're doing and kind of guessing what the other player is going. And it's just kind of little things like that that really make the pros and the noobs, and also probably the fact is that noobs have 10 APM and these guys have a whopping 167, which to a lot of people may not seem much to Grubby's 333, but I guarantee it that every single one of their clicks is actually an effective click. And you can see he just has it rallied just on the bear, like the bear, and I'm guessing that when he gets there he will click it. No, actually he will not. So he just has it on rally, but I mean there's nothing wrong with having your SCV on a rally, and he will actually scout this really late, and like I was saying, there's the extremely fast factory from both of them, and here's really where it matters. One of them is getting a reactor, and the other one getting a reactor as well, so they're both going for fast Hellions. This is literally the first time I have ever seen both players try to go for double Hellions. Happy is a little bit behind on his build, so Imba Straylock's Hellions will get out a little bit faster. Usually you don't see this. You never really see two Terran players go for the exact same build unless it is an early Marine Rush, considering that that is a very popular play, which is probably why both players are going for the fast Hellions. And I'm guessing that he's going to throw in Tech Lab down on this, followed up with the Starport, and there it is. And you can see that here Happy doesn't really know, and there it is, the LOL. They both know what each other are going, and they're both going to have Hellions. I don't really know. I mean, are they going to keep building Hellions? Is there really any point to actually building Hellions, though? When you know that the other player is going Hellions? Are Hellions considered light? They are, so they do extra damage to each other. This will be interesting. They do 14 damage to each other because they are both considered light. So it really depends. I mean, Hellions are actually a good counter to Hellions. Who would have thought? And you can see that he is a little bit worried though, so he's really going to not go into Mass Hellion because he is completely walling off his front here. I don't really think you can get through here, so he is going to build a bunker and put his Marines in there. So this is really going to be the only sort of pressure that he does see. But here comes 4 Hellions followed with a Marine. Imba Straylock is going a little bit more all-in-y than Happy, because Happy is keeping a lot of money in stocked up, but you can see 35 supply to 35 supply. Both players are in fact supply blocked, and I think that that is part of the build because you don't usually see two people both get supply blocked. And Happy is actually supply blocked for a little bit longer. That's because he is opting for the fast expansion, but he's really going to have nothing to deal with the Banshee that is coming out, especially if there is Cloak on the way, which there is not. I really like this play by Imba. This is a really good follow-up, and you can just see that Happy, it's really just kind of comes down to positioning for your units. He did have as many Hellions, but he does win that battle just because of simple positioning, and because he did get the first shot off, because Straylock's units actually had to go up the ramp, and this Marine will unfortunately be chased down. It would be a sad life to be this poor Marine. he unfortunately has to be chased down. And it's little things like that that make Happy's control so good, but if I was Happy, I would really pull out here because he will lose this battle, and this is going to be kind of... Oh, he actually did not lose that Hellion. So lucky for Happy, and I feel like Streylocks are faster there. I don't know why. That just felt weird. But anyways, you can see that Happy is actually going to opt to move his Hellions back to his base, and there is a bunker here, so it probably will deter any sort of Hellion play. And both players are just continuing to make massive amounts of Hellions, and I think that now that he does see... Oh, actually getting out of Viking. Look at this. He knows the timing for everything. After he sees those two Hellions, he knew the Banshee was coming, so he gets a single Viking, and that shuts down that Banshee. And it actually is a pretty large investment to get a tech lab and a starport just to get a Banshee out. That's a lot of time wasted when you could be doing other things. And you can see that Imba Straylock's expansion will be much, much later than Happy's. And Happy was already almost done with his orbital command, while Strelock is just starting his command center. But these Hellions here will have a lot of map control, so it might even out in the fact that he's going to have to lift this off only when he feels safe. For now, he can use it to just get a slight mule advantage. If you go to the unit counting station, we should see identical workers, but we do not, because the Banshee... Excuse me, I'm still trying to figure out when to swallow. You talk so fast and you don't even realize it, but the more you talk and the faster you talk, the less time you actually do have to swallow. And so it just kind of sounds awkward when you're trying to swallow while talking extremely fast, but there is no time for swallowing now because there is in fact coming to be a push, and never mind. I think Strelock is just trying to screw with me. He wants me to think that there is a push, and I think right now he's just holding off and waiting for Happy to say, you know what, screw it, I have to move out here. Happy may be just waiting for two tanks, because tanks are in fact armored. And here comes another Banshee harass. 2 kills on this Banshee, 3 kills on this Banshee. He's probably going to get 4, maybe 5. And here comes 6 kills on this Banshee. And there's 6 before losing that Banshee. So he does lose 6 workers. And you can see actually killing a total of 14. So the first Banshee did kill 8? Yes, 8. He did kill 8, which actually is extremely worth it. So right now, Strelock is in a huge lead. These Hellions really are holding off the harass, and Happy really needs to do something here to make it happen. But if you remember the last game I did cast with Happy versus Strelock, Happy was a huge amount of supply behind, and he really did make something happen. He's just going to move this one Viking in. Why not, if you really aren't going to be expecting any sort of Banshee plane? If you go to the unit counting station, you can see that... Excuse me, I had to swallow again. It is so hard. I will figure it out, though, guys. Who knows? Maybe I'll just get like a stoma or something. We will figure it out, and this Viking is going to be deterred. This Viking is just here for some sort of scout, and he will be seeing that this tech lab is, in fact, researching STEM. If you look at this tech lab here, you can actually see that it is moving, and that means that you know something is being researched, and you can guess that it is, in fact, STEM finally moving out with these 3 tanks that will finally allow him to take his... expansion. But if we go to the unit counting station, you can in fact see that he is behind by 10 probes, so he really needs to do something here. He's going to be pushing out probably with his army pretty soon because he really needs to do something. He really needs to kill all of these Hellions, and if he can kill those Hellions, he has the tank advantage, and we will once again be going into a marine tank battle. And I think Happy is very, very comfortable in that sort of play style. He can't really play catch up because he is on 2 base to 2 base, and both players are going to be constantly producing SCVs. But hold that thought, because if you look at the production facility, the production lab, you actually see that Strelock has in fact cut SCVs from his build, but he is floating pretty high. I don't think he's spending very well. Oh, whoops, wrong. I was trying to get rid of this. And this is, I think that's when you guys realize who is playing. And I think that's when I realize who is playing, because sometimes I forget, so I like having that name tag there, but we do not need it there any longer. He has a single Marauder up here just to scout it out. Why not? And Stim is finished in the tech lab, so he's now going for combat shields, and I think he's going to try to time his attack with the finish of combat shields, which is going to be done in exactly 60 seconds. He has the siege tank advantage, but the other player does have the Viking advantage. I think there's one Viking here, as opposed to, where is Happy's Viking? And this is hard to deal with. This sucks. I know this for a fact, is when a Terran player just sieges up here, or you can siege up even here, and it really just hurts your mineral line. And this is really where Happy is going to have to push out. Really smart play, because with this push here, he's really going to cut off any sort of reinforcements that Imba Strelock is going to try to give to his units. And I think that the slow push by Happy should really start now. This unit composition is kind of stuck here, and he's just going to all in here. He's really going to push in. He tried to keep these SCVs up here because he wanted to distract the player, and I think that yep, and there you go, he will actually pull this off. but at what cost? Because if we go to the unit counting station, he still is behind 10 SCVs, and he has been for a very long time, so he actually is behind by a considerable amount, because at the professional level, if you are down by 10 SCVs for a long time, you are actually very far behind. He should either grab a third base here, or he should just push in and try to do some damage of his own. He actually does have the advantageous... Excuse me, I had to swallow again. He does have that advantageous position because he can just post his siege tanks right up here, kind of just shell down on the SCVs here, whereas Strelock actually had to move away from his base. This is actually towards your base. It's because the maps are made in a central clockwise position. They are, if you notice, they are all the same, and that way not one side is said to have the advantage, but I think because of that, some sides do have the advantage, and you'll just see that Happy can actually post his units up here and still reinforce, so he does have a slight advantage there. He's going to siege up on the high ground. I really like this, also with control of the Zenlaga watchtower, but the Terran